I think SpongeBob has to be the most widespread childhood cartoon, at least for America. Like that was probably my number one favorite cartoon. Like as a kid, just growing up watching that stuff, like it always used to make me laugh. And it got to a point like I was watching it as an older teenager, still dying laughing, right? Because the stuff's still funny. I could probably watch it now, even today. I'm talking like OG stuff. I think they're still making new episodes. It just ain't the same. Like the first, like, what, up to like 8 seasons, whatever. That's like prime SpongeBob, you know? And it's crazy because it just got me thinking, like, SpongeBob was so relatable and it prepped me so much for literally what the world is today. Like when I'm saying, you know, a childhood cartoon, right? You got a sponge that talks, a star that's dumb as rocks. He even lives under a rock. And then you got this old, angry octopus, whatever he is, a squid, I guess. But Squidward, you have him and he's seriously like so relatable in modern day, right? Even when you think about all the main characters, like Mr. Krabs, you know, that's your greedy boss, the greedy CEO that wants to, you know, penny pinch every single dollar, making all kinds of money, barely paying the workers jack, right? You got SpongeBob and Squidward working in there. Both of them are underpaid, overworked, because it's just them two, right? And then you got Squidward, you know, who's always miserable. And you got SpongeBob, you know, who's always upbeat. Everyone liked him, right? And, you know, I didn't even like Squidward, you know, because he was just an angry grouch as a kid. But now when I think about him today as an adult, I think about how relatable he is. And not even to me, but the majority of society. He's so relatable in the way that a lot of people are doing jobs that they hate, first off, and they're just so like miserable. They treat people like crap. They got that smart, you know, always a smart ass trying to say stuff and just always like in a bad mood. It's like them one people at work. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody has that one guy or multiple guys that it's just, you know, you don't want to talk to them for too long because they're just bad news, you know, bad vibes. Like when you start talking to them, you know, they just talk about all the fucking problems in the world. You know, they don't talk about anything good going on. They just always want to complain and just negative people, you know? And I cut people out of my life close to me, close friends, close family even, because of being negative. Like that stuff is seriously contagious. If you're around that for too long, you are going to be like, you're going to become that. You know, it spreads. It spreads like a virus, right? So when I'm saying Squidward, I'm saying that these people, I just think about Squidward himself, right? He's at a job he hates, but it's to pay the bills. Okay. Everybody kind of relates to that. He's always in a bad mood. But how did he get here, right? Because he wasn't always a bad guy at heart. You know, you had the couple episodes where like SpongeBob was in like deep trouble. And then you had Squidward sticking up for him, protecting him. I think about the pizza episode, you know, where the one dude was super mean to SpongeBob and then Squidward slammed the pizza at him and stuff, you know, like, you know, don't be a jack off and all this other stuff, you know. So he wasn't a bad guy at heart, but he turned into this. He turned into this because he was molded for so long of a miserable life, a life that he hated. Because when you think about it, Squidward, he had a dream, right? I think we all had a dream. I know Martin Luther had one. No, but for real, like we all had like a dream, a goal as a kid, right? And this dream, his was to be a famous like musician, right? He wanted to be a famous clarinet player. I mean, you've seen it with other videos where he tried doing like when they did the marching band and stuff, he always wanted to be the leader of it. He was always so ambitious. He wasn't even going to make any money off of it, but he was just so ambitious to do it, because that was his dream. And then once that dream never like unfolded, whether it was because, he didn't go all in on it, or he just, started doing it a little bit, but then he needed money. So he started working and then dropped the clarinet gig, whatever it is. This relates so much to people today. And I truly believe, like, at my job, I see it, guys are probably like over like 30, 35. That's when it starts hitting them. Like, that's when like the most negative and just like bitter people just start to come out, because I've worked dead end jobs, like dead end restaurant jobs. And I got kids like around my age, like around 23, 24, and even up to like late 20s, 27, 28, 29. Mind you, this job is making jack. I think, what was it? I was making like $17 an hour, literally beginning of the year when I worked there. And these guys were doing it full time, right? This is all they had. I was maybe working half their hours, but I have a whole other job, right? And, they weren't too negative. Obviously, money's always a factor and stuff. It's like, oh man, stuff's super expensive, this and that. But it's never like them guys that are over 35 where it's just straight bitter, just straight like hate everything. They talk so monotone. Yeah, what do you want? Yeah, I can't wait to get off. This place sucks. Like, like just no like enthusiasm, nothing going on for them. And even when you think on the other side of it, there's still guys that are, over 40, over 35 and stuff, and they're still cool people to talk to. You can still have a good conversation with them, and they're not negative, right? And I realize it's probably because they have stuff going for them outside of their job, right? Like, just thinking about people at work, like one guy had his kid in like baseball, and he was actually coaching the baseball, right? So whenever I got to talk to this dude, he was always talking about, the baseball team and coaching 12U and stuff like that, like he had like something he was working towards, kind of like passionate, and it was like fulfilling for him. And then I think about other guys, the ones that complain. I rarely talk to any of those guys, honestly. Like, and it's beautiful because I don't work in like white collar, like an office job, right? Like driving truck, I just see the guys maybe for like 15 minutes most a day, and I can just walk by them if I really don't want to talk to them, so it's way better for me like that. But the one dude, he was like, man, super overweight, always complaining about his wife. Just always complaining, and it was so funny because I used to take, like, sometimes they would switch up the routes. Like, I mean, I was one of, like, just imagine one of 3 drivers. Okay. And us 3, we all go separate directions. So one goes west, one goes south, and then one goes east. And then north is, we ain't got a north. Right. And usually I used to run like the west route, like everything west belt. That's all me. But sometimes I would have to fill in, say that guy's not there, or they have him doing something else, whatever. I would take his route, which was usually running south. So, boom, I used to do that. And when I drop off, because it's a small company, so we're dealing with the same vendors. Okay, so when I'm dropping off steel and aluminum, stuff like that, it's the same guys. You see them every time. And when I would drop off, it'd be like, hey, where's Chris at? Like, I don't know. I'm taking this route. It's like, oh man, thank God. That dude could go on and on and on. And this dude just sounds miserable. And it like the first time I heard it, I was like, no way someone said that. But literally probably like 5 guys from like 5 of the shops I went to literally said damn near the same thing. You know, just how the dude complains so much, he talks so much, it's just such a negative person. But I don't know, he be talking it out. Like, shoot, you're gonna be negative, I don't want to hear it. But that just goes to show, like, obviously, I don't know what his problems is. That dude's like 50 something, so he a lost cause for me. I don't know. But when I think about Squidward, he's so much older now. He's not in his youth. And he kind of just gave up that dream that he had, that goal. He could, he had a goal at some point. And when I relate this back to me, like, what is the goal? What is my dream? Is it to drive a truck forever? No. It's all right for now, but forever, no. And that's what I want people to ask themselves. Like, what has always been something you wanted to do? What has always been like a dream for you? A childhood dream. What is your biggest goal in life? It's not even like money wise, because ask anybody what a money goal is. Anybody tell you, oh yeah, $1 million, $10 million. Like what? Like, no, like that's not real fulfillment, right? It's something that it goes back to your childhood, really. What's something you used to always enjoy, but now that you got older, I think once you graduate school, it's like you get smacked into the real world. This is how stuff works. You don't get coddled anymore. Nobody really cares about you, especially guys. Graduate school, young men, bro, you out there. Don't nobody care. And ain't nobody gonna help you find your dream and chase it for you or help you with it. Right? If you go so many years down the road, right? If we graduate school at 18, man, and we go all the way down till we get to 30, and we literally did nothing in this time gap to actually do something that made us fulfilled, to actually chase our purpose, man, you're going to get so just formed into your ways. Like, just think about people that get locked up, like incarcerated people, right? Once they get locked up for so long, they say, it's hard for them to get, like, they've been institutionalized for so long, it's hard for them to get back into like normal society almost, right? I mean, seriously, like these guys that are locked up like 15 plus years, they're not the same, right? And I mean, if you're locked in for 12 years, this is the prime time, really. Once you get out of school to once you hit 30, man, you're going to be so molded in those past 12 years that you just accepted your life to be. Whether, you're working a dead-end job. Let's say you work at that restaurant. You're doing dead-end jobs, couple dead-end jobs a year for 12 years. By the time you're 30, bro, what are you really going to be doing from there, right? Sure, you might wake up and try to find like a trade or something, but you really going to think that you're going to be chasing your purpose by then? No, man, you're going to be worried about bills and everything else that comes with it. Because the older we get, it seems like the more responsibility we get. Every year, in my life, I feel like it's not a lot, but it's always an extra little thing that I'm like responsible for and just making me a man, right? You want to be a grown man, I mean, it comes with the game, right? Because sure, you can be grown, you can be a man, but until you got everything on your own, that's when you'll be like a grown-ass man. Like, you can't really say you're a grown-ass man without having your own crib, your own house, own car, everything, And by the time you're 30, that's all you're going to be worried about. If you haven't chased your purpose, anything that makes you fulfilled, by that time, bro, just think about it. Just think about it, seriously. Like, I know a lot of people, it seems like the only way people find I don't know if they find their purpose, but they are given a purpose is when they have kids. Like, seriously, people always say, kids changed my life. My kids changed my life because, different perspective. And now I'm not just living for myself. I'm living for them. Right. Which is cool and all. If you feel that way. But do you seriously want to wait another 10 years? And then it's even harder to raise those kids because you didn't go after something that you actually wanted to do. Now, just wrapping this up, I don't think Squidward was a bad guy, right? I don't think these guys at work that have these miserable, negative lives, maybe they have like these bad vices, right? I just know there's somebody at my job that one of them goes home every day and just drinks their day away. Like, real talk, And I mean, because I got family members like that, right? Because they're two different people. You got the work version of them, and then of course you got the outside of work version, basically. And those guys that just go home and drink. You got guys that smoke like a chimney, just a couple packs a day and stuff like that. They find whatever kind of vices to kind of cope with the actual fact that they didn't chase their dream. They didn't go after that major goal that they wanted. And that's what I fear for myself. I don't want to become a Squidward. I don't want to be like that, man. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be hating on the youth, right? Because SpongeBob was younger than him and he was always hating on SpongeBob because SpongeBob was so happy and so joyful and everything like that. Like, man, I don't want to be like that. But I'm realizing it now. If I keep taking the same steps that these people are taking, just working a regular job, having no ambition, not chasing something that means something to me besides a paycheck, right? I'm going to end up like that. And I don't want other young guys that are in my position or getting too closer to becoming a Squidward, or that's super far away. They just got out of school. It's still fresh in the game, right? That is literally my main goal. And I think about it, who I'm talking to. I'm talking to my younger cousins, because they're starting to get grown now. I got them by a few years, but they're starting to get grown. And I think that, no disrespect to their fathers and everything, but fathers don't understand the newer generation and stuff. Like, you need like that uncle kind of that's only a few years ahead of you to help you guide you through this path, right? A father is of course a good, stepping stone, but my goal is to be a few years ahead of these guys and leading them a more newer world, right? Because in 20 years, the world I grew up in is going to be completely different from the newer generation in 20 years. Because in that time, I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm going to be so out of touch with it, out of tune with it. I'm going to have to get game when I'm 40 from a 25-year-old. And that's how stuff's really moving, So I guess to wrap this up, just think about what your childhood dream is, right? What could you do? Seriously, what do you do? Right? I know that's kind of a hard question. What do you do when you're not working? What spends all your time, right? And it seems like we have so many vices. We have so many distractions around us. You think, well, shoot, all I do is work. I work out and that's kind of it, But then you think about all the lost time. Go to your screen time on your phone. You have so many hours on Instagram. You have so many hours on like TikTok and all these other just dumb apps and everything. Just drop the phone for a little bit, YouTube even. Like, you can't be watching 5-6 hours of YouTube every night, man. You can't be watching Netflix 5-6 hours every day. Like, focus on something that's actually purposeful to you. Because when you fast forward, let's say you fast forward 20 years, 40 years down the line, man, you're not going to wish that you had watched one more episode. You had scrolled one more time. No, man, you're going to wish you had chased your dream. You thought about when you was a kid, man. You used to play a guitar. You used to play a clarinet. But then life happened. You needed some money. There's so many distractions around you. And you got tied into the way that society is thinking now. Society's just full of distractions. And then before we know it, we forgot what we truly enjoyed as a kid. Right? Even if it is something like a clarinet. And if you love that stuff, like, seriously, go all in on it. So what? Right? So what if it doesn't work out? What if it does? What if you do that full time? And what if you don't? I mean, you won't end up like a Squidward, you know? But that's pretty much all I got. It's crazy the way SpongeBob just, I don't know, it kind of did like a full circle. Like, I just remember the stuff as a kid. I remember episodes so like vividly too. Like all the memes and everything like that, man. SpongeBob was such a great show. And it's funny. I want to rewatch it again, but it's like, bro, what am I doing watching SpongeBob right now? I think when I have kids, it's kind of when I'm gonna live like that childhood phase of me again, you know? Because I really didn't have I did have a childhood, of course, but not as much as I want to give to my kids, right? So watching SpongeBob, we're not gonna be watching this new stuff. Like, I don't know what they have going on with like this quick, like spazzy type of like content now with Coco Felon and all this other stuff going on. And, even like the new video games. I hate these new video games. Black Ops 7 just came out. Like, that stuff sucks, man. It really does. Like, I like that classic, like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, MW2, MW3 type games, man. Like, that's my era. It's, I don't know. I see myself becoming an OG, becoming Unk. Just getting stuck in my ways. I don't think there's not wrong with that. But SpongeBob gonna have to wait another like 10 years. It's still gonna be around. I can watch the old episodes when I have kids and go to like Disneyland, Disney World, stuff like that. Like, right now, I'm not trying to do all that. That's kind of stuff you can relive as an adult for your childhood, but then also for your kids, right? So, I mean, that's of course my end goal at the end of the day, right? But even just thinking about, like, I didn't even watch no episode before hopping on here. Like, it's just in my brain, you know? I saw a guy make something about how, you know, SpongeBob kind of did a full 360, and it made me think, and I'm like, you know, it actually did, right? Because you got all kinds of characters. You got SpongeBob. I don't know. He like gets flustered and stuff. Like, he was actually a decent driver, but when it came to trying to pass his test, you know, he got too overwhelmed and he overthought it too much. And you got Patrick just dumb and clueless, right? And we see people like that all the time. We got the greedy boss, Mr. Krabs. We got people that worry about other people too much and not about their own self, that it's self-destruction, like Plankton. You know, so it was cool, you know, reflecting on this. But I appreciate you listening. I'm out.